And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the probably final hour of tonight's episode of Misfits. Joining us for this last hour is Rasmus, playing the role of Entry. So, hi Rasmus, welcome. Good that you could make it back.
Thank you, thank you. It's good to be back.
Right. Well, why don't you just give us the quick and dirty hot take on Entry?
Yeah, sure. His name's Entry. He's a delinquent. He
Mm-hmm.
has a streak of 1, danger of -1, savior of 0, superior of 3, and a mundane of 0, and he's currently got no conditions.
All right. So, for the beginning of this session, you've not been here. What were you doing? What prevented you from joining? Were you just really tired? Because some people imagined you were.
I mean, I had a. Are we talking me or Entry?
Entry.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to tell you what I've been doing,
Oh
but
no, I know what you
I'm
went.
far less interesting than Entry.
I disagree vehemently, but sure. Tell me about Entry though.
So
Why?
is this a school day or a weekend day?
We reached the conclusion that this is weekend.
In that case, Pollux probably stayed up until 5, 6 in the morning working on something and then fell asleep across his table. Dan probably just woke up, let's say, half an hour ago.
Right. I sympathize so much. Okay, so in that case, you have woken up to messages on your phone that you should come and find the group in a certain location. And as you went there, they weren't there. You were
Hmm,
going to meet up with them in the city.
that's weak.
But from that location, nearby sound has drawn you. um, until you're now about to enter the scene. So, let us talk about let us actually put images to that. I think we'll see. I wanna get to Moira, but I want to have a couple of panels of you approaching this scene, which is happening on a street alongside the outskirts of a park. So it's between a series of shops and buildings with shops and upstairs apartments, and then on the other side of the road there's a park.
Hmm.
So why don't you take charge of 3 or 4 panels of you just waking up and getting here?
Well, in that case, one would be Entry waking up to the sound of his phone, I suppose. Then a panel of him checking the phone while brushing his teeth. A panel of him looking down himself as he's wearing a white t-shirt and pajama pants and deciding to say fuck it, and then he's out. And then I suppose we see him at the scene going, huh, where the fuck is everyone? Before curiosity gets the better of him as he approaches, and I don't know, it sounded like there might be a mob of people.
There is. There is what sounds like a group of either a combination of angry people and also I think people sounding like they're chanting a chorus. I think it sounds like a stadium crowd, but it's smaller and it's not in a stadium, so it has a different acoustic.
Right. I think he, approaches the outskirt of this crowd, sees that he can't really easily get through, notices a policeman, pops over, takes his megaphone, and pops on top of a roof to see what's going on.
All right. So I think that's the best image for introducing you to the scene. So you look down upon what's transpiring below, and you see a van, like a trail of money behind it, that has crashed into a tree that's fallen across the road, from the park, and it has its engine is squashed, and its windshield is battered. There's an unconscious guy inside of it, a couple of birds flying around his head. There's a crowd of people that have surrounded Moira, who's just in the sea of people. Recon is bouncing around on top of some vehicles while he's being chased by a horde of what looks like angry roadies from like down below.
Oh.
And Yun is karate fighting an old man wearing yellow tights and a red tunic.
Do I recognize the old man in red tights and yellow tunic?
Well, since you're just as much of a nerd about superheroics as anyone else in this group, obviously, this is Scarlet Songbird, one of the oldies and goldies. It's like classic, and also supposed to be in prison.
Oh, well, that's no good. In that case, if I may, Entry puts the megaphone to his mouth and says, "What's up with this, guys? Can't even cage that old ass songbird without me."
The fight comes to a natural halt, as if to acknowledge your existence, as all of you hear Entry's voice amplified by megaphone, and we get like the bottom up shot of you, like as you look up and you notice that atop that building stands Entry in his pajamas with a megaphone.
I think he does a mic drop.
I think that the moment of stopping the fight is going to be what makes Yun, because she's so angry right now after he pulled that shit on her, that she's going to want to kick him back down to the ground.
Of course.
So she's going to sweep the legs underneath him when he's like, "What? Huh?" And he looks up, and then she's going to sweep his legs.
Excellent. I'll get to that in a second. Because I want to acknowledge that, but I'm also very curious now to see about Moira in this like sea of mesmerized people. So when we left you here, you just suffered a condition. You didn't feel particularly good about having a crowd of people pointing at you and shouting things that sounded aggressive. So what do you do about that? Because they're just like kind of piling on, and it's starting to weigh you down. You're very strong. You could probably just like shake them off, but you might hurt someone. In case you're answering right now, you don't have push to talk on.
I'm aware.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
I just don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll try assessing the situation, because I'm so good at it.
That is totally a thing you could do. You could also, if you wanted to, and you're like, I don't know what I would do, you could call for help. You have teammates.
Assessing the situation.
Alright. Let us have you assess the situation. Oh yeah, tiny detail, it's a wide shot when you show up and look at everything, so it might even escape your notice, but there is a flying zebra cat with sparkles coming off its paws, floating in the immediate vicinity of Moira.
Love that.
Nope.
Noted.
Oh,
Right.
it's another what's it called? Essential.
Yeah, it's the third today.
Yeah, so snatch some potential. And yeah, I think this is like what this is the escalation of like what they're doing, right? So you're caught in this like group of people, and you're being faced with a choice, right? And that choice is either to be like piled on by the crowd, ostensibly like vanishing under a sea of people, which will like hold you down, or you could like throw them off right now, but if you do so, you're gonna hurt someone. So the question is just like, what reigns supreme, your desire to keep people safe or your desire to get out of this mess?
Right now, what's supreme is that she's fucking angry.
All
And
right.
she doesn't like people doing that, so someone gets hurt.
All right.
While she's just yelling, "Fuck off!"
Absolutely. So you shake yourself free. The crowd disperses, being like thrown back by your strength. They're still like they're not like the mob isn't yet thick enough that you can't shake them loose. But someone definitely like falls and like strikes their head against something. Like there is something going on in this, like in the sea of people. Someone gets hurt. And obviously this will be talked about somewhere by someone. So you shake them off, and you have this like moment of peace where you just like look at people picking themselves back up, but like Some of them seem to have been like shaken out of their stupor by being tossed around like that. But most of them are still like seemingly thoroughly under his spell. Then let's acknowledge trespass, and then we'll have enter the fray.
Her. Yes, well, she wanted to take him, the old guy, off his feet, and she's not, as I said, she's not holding back this time. There's a good deal of force behind it. She wants him to be knocked down, and she wants him to feel that she's being serious now.
All right. Well, you're in a position where you can trade blows with him, so I think you should roll to directly engage.
I think so too. There you go.
It's a great one. Okay, so you get to pick 2 from the list.
Yes, I do. I'm going to take his footing from him.
All right.
Because that's what she's trying to do, obviously. By knocking him to ye olde ground, and I'm going to impress, surprise, or frighten him. So I'm going to have to take a blow from him as well, but that's what I'm doing.
All right. Well, let us do that. So you grab him and throw him to the ground with a powerful blow. As you do so,
well, it's not so much grabbing as she spins around herself down, close, sweeping the legs under him from behind. But yeah, anyway.
So as you do this, he lands, he loses his footing. He plumps heavily to the ground, and as you come to a stop, he's you feel his hand around your ankle, and he looks to you and he's like this. Okay, we're fighting now. He's not being all grins. He's like, whoa, okay, I guess we're really exchanging blows now, and he has you by the ankle, and he whistles at you just like a listing whistle, and you feel an air pressure underneath the part of you that's leaned against the ground, and it pushes you off the ground, and pushes you up into the air, and then he pulls you by the ankle and hammers you down into the windshield of the car that you're fighting next to.
But he still lost his footing, I guess.
Yes, he's down. He's still down. He's trying to regain his footing. He basically rolls over to do this, right?
Yes. So I take a powerful blow. And yes, as I said, he's either frightened, impressed, or what was the last one? Anyway, one of them.
Yes, he is. Well, I think you described yourself as I'm putting on my scary face.
Yeah.
So I reckon that he's kind of scared of you, and that's probably also why he's maybe giving you a little bit harder of a blow than he maybe intended.
Yeah, probably. Okay, I'll try taking a powerful blow. Unfortunately.
Ooh, that's a full hit. Okay, so you get to pick from the list.
I'm checking. Is that on number 1 or 2?
It is on the first one in the last column in the bottom.
Yeah, take a powerful blow on a 10 plus.
Yes.
Okay. Right. I lose control of myself.
Oh, excellent. Okay. You lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way. Rad. Yeah. Let me just double check that, because we have seen people lose control of their powers.
But she doesn't have any in that sense.
You have, but what this would mean is stuff like... So remember, we describe it narratively. So for you, for example, you have this whole arsenal of ninjutsu skills, right? An example of you losing control of your powers, not appropriate to this situation, but let's say you were rushing to disarm the bomb, would be that you keep whiffing your shurikens. You can't land anything, and
right. I
too distracted, and you get knocked down, and Okay, so you lose control of yourself means that I get to tell you how your powers go haywire, cause collateral damage, make the world around you unstable, and all kinds of other bad stuff. Losing control of yourself means that you might say or do something awful. I chooses which you do and what exactly that looks like. Yes, of
I
course.
could do something awful here, I'm afraid. Oh, shit. Okay.
I-
You decide. You
I
decide.
know.
Could be cussing at Moira because he's not actually engaging.
Yes, I know that there is a moment here. There is a split second where you batter down into the windshield and you like the air is knocked out of you and you just like you have this like shock up your body, where like the typical like spine impact shock, and as you're like trying to pull yourself off and like dust yourself off, you want to be like, you have this moment of just like, I could just stab him. I could stab him in the neck and he would die and it would be easy. I've never actually done it, but I've seen it be done. I know how it works. Just stab him. And that split second of you just like of bloodlust, you recognize it, and that's even worse. You recognize it in yourself. And because in that split second you recognize like, oh, I should not think that is awful. Instead of channeling it into something introspective, you just dismiss it, you deflect like, this is not your responsibility. This has to hurt someone else, and so you cuss out your team. If they had your back, you would not be here. This is somehow their fault.
I've been fighting this guy up close and personal, and they are still what?
Yeah, what are you doing? And like, we know, right? We can see them trying not to harm civilians, but to you, it's just like, if you thought about it, you would know better. But you can't help yourself in this moment. I will leave. I could say what you say, but I think it's more interesting if I allow you to be hurtful to your team.
Oh, you bastard! Yes, I think she will. You know, as she kip ups from that blow, and you know, gets back up on the hood of the car, sort of a crouching position, and she's still only looking at him.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't pay attention to what the others are actually doing. She's engaged with him in a one-on-one fight.
You have definitely
you know,
have a moment of like, everything hurts and you need to like get
Hell
a breath,
yes.
but definitely.
Hell yes, but that's why she's taking the time to cuss out people next instead of just launching herself straight back at him, obviously.
Yeah.
But she's furious because she's been fighting this guy for a little while now, and you know, there's been no arrows. There's been no giant snake or frost rays or anything of the sort. So she you know, she growls and you know, not just, but screeches out in rage and goes, "Are you going to help me or not, you fucking bastards?"
Cool. Yeah, so harsh words ring out clearly across the crowd, despite them being very loud. This is one of those, what George Carlin would or like, may he rest in whatever he would rest in, may he rest on the roof of a shack, would call like that moment where every sound dies down and everyone can hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just like in that perfect little valley of all the ambient noise dipping, you manage to like, just like shame your entire team with your hatefulness. I think, do you have influence over your entire team?
Yes, I do.
All right. So I guess the question is to the lot of you. How do you feel about this?
I think for entry's sake, he takes the time to swiftly send the finger her way.
Just to flip her off.
Exactly.
She can't see it because she's only focused on him, but it's still, I think that pretty clearly shows that entry is, you know, not taking the lip.
No.
What about you, Moira? I'm only hearing silence in case you're trying to answer me right now.
Yep. Moira is deeply affected.
Yeah. Do you think it's appropriate for you to take a condition?
I don't think any of the conditions fit.
All right. Well, I will let you be like harshly affected, but don't bother marking a condition. What about you, Recon?
Rika is just like looking at looking at her, try like I am trying, and he's taking the tray that he was just hit with by a barista, and he's literally going to hit that barista back, just like a full swing.
Sure, like clobber a lady upside the head. She falls out of she falls off the hood of the pickup truck and like just like lands on a bunch of people. She's okay.
And just to be clear about my intent here,
Yeah.
I'm intending here to clear my angry.
Ah, okay. Yeah, she takes a blow to the head and falls off the car. We don't see what happens to her.
Yes.
That definitely happens.
Yeah.
You clear your angry.
Yeah. And then he just tries to like just zip line towards the fight.
All right. Cool. So, I need to do something first, and then we should talk about entry. Then we'll talk about recon.
Meow.
Dum.
What did you need to do?
I need to make a move.
Keep silent.
Ah, I get it. Okay.
Ow.
So, still like lying down and like tending a bruised rib or something, and just like pushing himself up onto his elbows and be like, "Ow, wow, that's incredibly harsh of you, young lady. I thought this was the Misfits, a new team of superheroes. Well, perhaps you still need a little something. Maybe you're not quite out of your training jumpies yet."
She snarls at him and says, "Be happy I don't tear your guts out."
Oh, I would be very pleased if you didn't. But I think I would be more pleased if I could contend with someone who weren't complete amateurs too.
You seem to forget. I'm trained by the Blood Rose. What's to stop me from killing you?
He does the most infuriating possible thing. He
Well,
looks
he
at
was
you,
frightened, so,
yeah,
you know.
he does the most infuriating possible thing. He looks to you, and you can tell he's like afraid, but like, and because you can tell because he's like shuffling away from you, like doing the backwards crab walk.
Yes.
But for that moment, when you ask that question, he stops, and you can see him like ponder, and he does the most infuriating thing in the world. He shrugs. He's like, "I don't know," and it just, it's the worst. However,
Yes.
all of you, when he calls you out for being complete amateurs, he is lowering everyone's danger and upping everyone's mundane. Actually, he's not. He's lowering everyone's danger and upping everyone's... No, yeah, mundane is right.
My mundane is already at max.
All right. In that case, you would ignore that, I think.
Yeah. Well, he's also afraid of... Seeing as he is afraid of me, it's kind of... That would make sense.
Let me double check that, because there's something about influence here. So let me see.
From a blah, 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 blah. At least from a purely narrative perspective, it would make sense.
There is something about like ignoring parts of moves that intersect with your labels. So I think you can safely ignore that. The question is and this is a question for all of you. do you try to do you accept what he's saying?
Oh, hell no.
All right, that's a no. What about Recon, Moira, and Trespass? Do you accept what he's saying?
Well, I need to know then if I should ignore it or not.
So here's the question of whether or not you reject it is separate. So he cannot
Oh, all
affect
right.
that label, but there's still a question of whether you accept his words or not.
No, I don't.
Okay, so everyone who rejects it, roll to reject. Everyone who doesn't reject it, tell me why and how you feel.
What happens if we don't?
If you don't, he will lower your danger by 1 and up your mundane by 1. And also, you will have accepted his words that, like, that you're like a bunch of amateurs, and that you will basically like feel shitty for this guy, even though he's like a villain, right? Who cares what he thinks? The answer is you all do.
Of course, he's an adult.
Yeah.
I'll at least try. Nope.
All right. So his words hit you, Moira.
And I'm one away from another advancement.
Okay.
So you reject his influence. That means, let's see. Okay, I get it. So you don't adjust your labels. My bad. I misread it. We've not had label shifts in a while. You just his words hit you hard. Mark a condition. And then I will adjust your labels. Okay, I should probably read the entire sentence.
That's probably for the best.
Right? I think so too. So that's Moira. You take a condition, and I will make your danger go down by 1 and your mundane go up by 1. Recon, you rolled a 7 to 9, and so did Trespass, and
I rolled a 13.
wonderful. Okay, so let's resolve the 13 first. You get to choose 2 from the list.
Yes, I would like to shift 1 label up and 1 label down.
All right.
And I would like to shift opposite of what he said.
Okay, so you shift your danger up and your mundane down.
Yes.
Awesome.
Just to be contrary.
Of course, it fits perfectly. Right? It's like fuck you. No, I'm not.
And I would like to cancel the influence and take 1 forward.
Excellent. Okay, so like, who even cares what the stupid Scarlet Songbird has to say?
Careful what you wish for, old fart.
Awesome. Okay, good for you. Remember, you have +1 forward now. What about you, Recon? You rolled a 9. You get to pick 1 from the list. What would you like?
Yeah. Since Recon was probably in the middle of ziplining, well, this was said. He's just like landing on some flat surface, like a bit elevated, like taking aim as like I'm so done with dealing with all the washed up has-beens like you, and just like tries to shoot like a net at him just to net him as like an animal.
I see what you're doing. You're trying to immediately prove him wrong.
Yeah.
All right. I see you.
And cleaning condition or marking up.
So let's see if you do that. You definitely take action to try and do it. Let's see if you succeed. But let's wait a little bit with the net, because we need to get you safely out of the crowd that was attacking you. So let's make a roll for that zip line.
Okay, so it's a provoke. Suppose.
What? Sorry, come again.
For the zip line, I heard for the snip line.
I can understand why you would think that. Let's have you roll to unleash your powers. Get out of there safely without hurting anyone. So you can line yourself up for that shot.
Can I say that I don't care about hurting anybody?
You can. That will just inform me in what I say goes wrong.
That's minus.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, let me gonna leave that there for a second. But you do try, like you act to immediately prove him wrong.
Yeah.
So, what did you clear a condition or mark potential?
I'll clear. I'll clear a condition,
Okay.
and I'll clear. Let me just pick up the things. I'll clear in insecure because he is done with all the old people. Like he's not feeling insecure about him. Like he defeated the gold villains before.
That's so good. You're like,
It's
I'm not afraid of you. I'm not an amateur. I'm clearing my insecure, and then you zipline and fail. Like, I think I'm not gonna, but I'm really tempted to just have you eat shit on that zipline. I'm not gonna, cause you're a cool superhero. But still, it's really tempting. And let's talk about trespass. Trespass. You made a roll too. I think you rolled a 7.
I rolled a 7,
Alright.
so I pick 1.
Yes.
And I'm going to immediately act to prove him wrong.
Okay.
Because he calls me an amateur, and I just narrow my eyes slightly at him and say, "Oh yes, I'll show you." And then she performs the hardest move that the Blood Rose teaches on him.
Tell me about that.
Have you? How long ago is it that you've seen the old game Street Fighter 2?
That is not a long time ago, actually. I saw it recently.
Guile's upwards kick, when he launches himself, basically flips back over his own head to kick someone so hard that they go flying, basically.
Okay, cool. I'm into that. So let us. I think Sankeev's being a pirate driver would have been cool too.
It would have, but she's not big enough.
All right. Okay.
I don't. No. You know what?
No what?
That move? No. She's doing the Great Wall of China. Same game. Chun-Li's Great Wall of China.
Ah, of course. So the rapid kick.
Yes, the 1,000 kicks.
Interesting. Okay.
The other one is basically just a backflip. It wouldn't be as hard.
I see you.
So yeah.
Okay.
Is that what do I do with that? Is that an unleash my powers thing, or what is that?
Let us see. I think you're directly engaging.
Okay. It's the same either way. It doesn't make a difference roll wise. I just want to be sure. Okay, let's see. And
there you go.
I am going to spend team selfishly.
Oh,
we have any more left? So
so
basically, when she does that, she yeah, I need to be sure. If I spend team selfishly, it's just me. I don't have to include the others in having done something, right?
The others don't have to do something, but you're putting them at risk. You're being a dick to your
Right.
team.
No way. In that case, no, because I can't see a way of doing that under the circumstances. So no. I'm giving him the pummeling of the ages, basically, with this. That's the idea anyway.
Yeah, you pull it off pretty well. Not perfectly, but pretty well.
No, but pretty well. It should be enough to at least show him that no, he is in fact not dealing with a bunch of amateurs.
It's an interesting perspective to take. Yeah.
Yes.
So what will you choose from the list?
What I'm going to do for this is again, I'm going to take something from him.
What will you take from him?
I would love to take his I would love to take the wind out of him with this.
Right.
It's a massive attack.
Totally.
It's one that she hasn't actually performed yet. She's simply so angry that she's she doesn't care.
Okay, I see you. We'll definitely do that. So, you launch into this and you dive into him. Bring your feet up, kicking up. Wait, no, you did the. Yeah, I remember you did the Wall of China.
Yeah.
So you launch into like a series of quick kicks, sending the guy like sprawling backwards. You definitely take the air out of him. However, in doing this. You leave yourself wide open. You don't maintain your peripheral awareness. You're too angry. You lose your focus on your teachings, and you lose awareness of your surroundings. And someone like one of these like
clocks me.
Someone like clocks you as you like move to like finish the move.
Hey, look at that! They're welcome. They're welcome to try.
Very nice.
What I miss.
Excellent. So you stand strong.
I take potential with that and stand strong.
You do. So someone like swipes you upside the head, but it's one of those injuries that's like that I'm fine, right? It just barely hurts.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick yourself up from it. But let's talk about entry.
That's me.
Before we should acknowledge Recon's role. We should acknowledge what goes wrong with Recon. Then we'll talk about entry. Recon, you're ziplining out out of the crowd, and as you do so, you're knocking a bunch of people like down, causing like you said yourself, right? Like, what if I don't care about people? Well, that's kind of what's up here. You accidentally like knock some people over who like bump into each other, who like knock their heads into stuff, who land behind a car that doesn't have its handbrake pulled, right? Like stuff like that. You cause some injuries, stuff that isn't like particularly good for anyone. And so, when you alight at the end of your jump, you're about to be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll shoot a net at this guy and he'll be caught. But then you hear the moaning from behind you, and you turn to look. You can't help yourself. You turn to look. And you see that in like your rush to be like, no, let me teach this old codger what's what, you have hurt a couple of people, and not insignificantly so. Like there's some broken arms in there probably, or some bruised hips. And, some concussions. You're looking back at like a group of people who are like either waking up from their mesmerization or still under it, but they like you hurt some people and that hits you. Take a condition. Entry. And this causes a moment of hesitation where you're not firing the net. Let's talk about entry.
That's me.
Entry. You're on the roof.
Yes.
There has been an altercation. Your team is they're roughhousing the people a bit from this perspective. But the guy is down. He's not out for the count, it seems, but he might have like that was a solid hit he got there. Like if he's gonna get back up, he's
more like
limping
15
away.
solid hits, but yeah.
Yes.
I think entry for a brief moment looks as if he wants to do more than, like he's torn between doing one thing or another.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes a breath and assesses the situation.
All right. Roll to assess.
I hope you have more luck than me.
He does. Oh my.
I should. It's my best stat.
Yeah.
You may ask some questions, sir.
Yes, I may. Let's see. How many may I ask? 2. Okay. Well,
Remember, if you have some moves that gives you more things to ask.
I do have a move that gives me more things to ask, but they're not relevant right now. I want to know how could I best end this quickly, and with this I mean the mind control.
The best way to end this quickly is to get him to drop it.
Okay, and in case that doesn't work, what here can I use to end the mind control?
Um,
I ask that because I'm a gadgeteer, of course.
of course.
I already have a megaphone.
Ooh, maybe do like one of those screechy overload things.
It does appear that his control seems sound-based, so I could try something along that line of thought. That's Entry's line of thought.
You could totally try and like if you could rewire this thing, this like megaphone, to create a certain kind of like audio frequency, you might be able to snap people out of it, en masse.
Well, guess what he tries to do.
All right. I'm guessing. I know what you're going to do. Okay. Give me a roll for that. As you're trying to tinker this thing, unleash your powers. Let's see if you can fabricate this thing in a hot moment.
Does my +1 forward against him count here?
Yes, it does. All right. Awesome. It is. Will you take a condition for this, or will you? Shall I tell you how it's unstable and temporary?
I will take a condition.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you can take it for whatever you want. I feel like a good choice of where your condition comes from is from the scene unfolding.
Yes, I actually think that's true, and I think I'll mark angry, although, angry with the way they're handling a mind control situation, because that's not the way heroes are supposed to do it.
Interesting development from the delinquent.
Well, he has a very rigid set of morals in that's very black and white.
Yeah, and you have some history with innocent bystanders.
I see. But he hopefully manages to do the thing.
Yeah, you do. You've created a temporary sonar disruptor thing. You're gonna overload the shit out of this this megaphone, but it's fine.
Okay, as long as it doesn't explode in my hand. And if it's about to explode, I'm going to throw it into the air.
It's just gonna break on its own, but...
That's fair. In that case, he activates it, and I imagine it makes a horrible, horrible noise.
It does. It makes quite like it in the comic book we see it drawn as like sound waves, right? We see it like as black wavy lines emerging from the megaphone as you're like directing it at people. What it actually sounds like is probably it sounds like a high gain guitar if it could somehow be high pitched.
I have no idea what that means, but it sounds bad.
I'll link you to what a high gain guitar sounds like. You've heard it before in different pieces of music. You just don't.
Most likely.
Yeah. So it has this like high pitched screeching noise. And we see like everyone like clutch their like the hands to their ears, be like like falling over and like grabbing their heads. The rest of you, this like awful sound starts resounding from somewhere above. Like kinda like makes you pause for a hot moment. And then like everything seems still. And everyone is picking themselves up off the ground very slowly.
How's that, professional?
Solid. So, Yeah, okay. So, I think... Let me just have a look at this. Okay. So, the crowd is like dusting themselves off and like waking up, essentially. So, there's like a combination of like sleepy murmurs and like pained pained exclamations for people who've been injured, and from like some people who are scared, right? Like calling out.
Yeah.
The rest of you, who are focused on the Scarlet Songbird, he is like, Yun, your kick like launched him into the brickwork at the foundation of the fence around the park. And he's like sitting back against that, trying to catch his breath, and he's like when he's like also holding his ears, and when the noise recedes, he just raises a hand and he's like, fair. All right, kiddos, you win. I give.
May I?
Yun looks a mixture of distraught, furious, and deeply, deeply, deeply ashamed. And she just looks at him and turns away and covers her face with her hands. She is incredibly upset.
I think Entry teleports down next to her, pulls out his Chakram thing, pops a null marble into it, and places it over the guy, and then that should nullify any movement from him for a good while.
At this point, Recon is pulling out his phone and going through the list that Whisper sent him before and see if this old Carter was on it.
He is.
Mm.
Recently was broken out of prison.
Mm. He just probably texted Whisper that he found one of her strays.
Goody.
And
so there
and
is a soft. Sorry, go on.
And then he was going to slink towards the towards the Carter and then try to ask him a couple questions.
All right. So you land over there, and you have this like moment. You have this like quiet moment, but something is building, and we're not sure what. But in that moment, you dip over to Entry and Yun, and the Scarlet Songbird.
Entry is not looking happy.
You're also wearing pajamas.
Yes, that's, to him at least, irrelevant right now. Is Moira joining as well?
That's the thing that's quiet. Nope. That's the thing that's building in the background, but we'll get to that. Because I have some comments on Moira's situation.
In that case, Entry, when Recon approaches, says, yeah, we really need some training. I suggest non-harmful takedowns.
Are you shaming your team?
Yes.
Are you targeting someone specifically?
In this case, Recon, because Yun didn't seem to do that much damage to civilians. I don't think she did any, did she?
No.
In that case, Recon.
Do you have influence over Recon?
Let me check. Yes, he's actually one of the few people I have influence over.
Are you taking advantage of your influence?
Yes, of course I am.
Well, you're probably also shaming Moira, because she also heard some.
Yes, but I don't think she was any. That's why I asked if she was approaching as well. But she
Apparently
might be able
not yet.
to hear him. Oh, you said no.
Because apparently not yet.
Fair enough. In that case, I'm satisfied with shaming Recon. I can always shame Moira later.
Okay, so when you take advantage of your influence over someone, surrender the influence you hold over them and choose one. You can give them +2 on a move they just made. You can inflict a condition on them, or you can take an additional +1 on a move targeting them after the roll.
In case he doesn't already have it, I would like to inflict guilty upon him.
I already have it.
Insecure?
Yeah, sure.
As in you have it, or as you now?
No, yeah, I just marked.
Right.
Solid. The scathing burn, the reminder of the duty of a hero. Burns bright.
You said duty.
I did. um. Anyway,
Good
yeah,
riff.
it's a moment of some harsh words there, but well chosen. What do you do, Entry? Derp. What do you do, Recon?
Yeah, he's probably just moving past entry, looking at him for a second, rolling his eyes, then moving past towards the
Noted.
towards
Noted.
towards the songbird, and he's like standing over here looking at him, being like, okay. So who broke you out?
He can't speak until I disable the device.
So disable it.
And she looks at you for a moment. And then goes over and disables the device, but he's clearly not happy with you.
Cool.
Yoon is, at this point, she isn't looking at either of them, but it's clear that she's crying.
Don't make the girls cry, Entry.
No, he isn't to blame for that.
And I think if he wasn't angry, he would probably have noticed.
Yeah.
That's a fancy bauble you got there, kiddo.
Thanks. Made it myself.
Not bad.
I believe my...
Could you hand me that? And he like nods in a direction. You see a guitar with its strings cut.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
you win, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see like he's looking at you, Entry, and you, Recon, but then he's like he's looking past you, and you can tell like he's looking at Trespass. And Trespass, you hear through your tears the voice of the Scarlet Songbird like calls to you as he says, "Hey, cheer up, kid. You're gonna have a long life of this stuff."
One more word out of you and I remove your tongue. Swear it. And she just walks away.
He looks to the Entry and Recon is like, you can tell like he believes her, so he's choosing not to say anything.
That's good. And she was prepared to sock him in the face. I
Well,
believe my friend has some questions for you.
Oh boy. Well,
if you don't like the word, you don't have to force it, you know.
I don't like it right now.
Yeah, then Recon turns towards Songbird, and it's like, okay, coming back to the topic at hand, who broke you out?
he looks to you and like he turns his head like quizzically, and he flashes like a semi-pained grin, and like he has got blood in his gums, right? He's like he's had like some rough treatment here. This was a toughie. So he like flashes you a pained grin. He says, "What? Who broke me out? Maybe
You and
a
couple of others.
Maybe it was Santa. Christmas came early this year."
Now I would like to sock him in the face.
I'm not going to stop him.
Knock him out and carry him back.
Punch him in the face like, ow.
And of course, that's to clear my anger.
Yeah, that's actually a good call. So if you do that, you can definitely clear your anger for that. He looks up at you and he says, "This is a weird group. How times have changed since I was put in. Used to be you could tell heroes from villains. And he looks at you. His words bite more than his face. His face is grinning at you with that an old man sharing a campfire story with a tiny baby.
Oh, you can. Heroes don't hurt innocents.
Is that how it works now? Man, the lines are getting blurry. Either that or it's just my eyes swelling.
Maybe just getting old.
That could also be the case.
Oh! Ow!
I think
That was nasty.
I think at this point, Entry would like to go after Yoon.
Solid burn.
Yeah.
Alright, so you dip after Yoon. What about you, Recon? He's not playing your game, it seems. Do you wanna push him? Do you wanna say
Tie
something?
him up, lock him in a... Yeah, I don't know.
Just
He did surrender, we just need to tie him up.
Well, I just untied him for the interrogation.
Yeah.
look at the move. I don't know. He's trying he's squat lowering himself to the whatever to eye level with him. It's like
He has a hand over, he's touching a hand to his ribs, he's clearly in pain.
He's trying to give him he's trying to read him scheme over trying to be how to approach this situation. It's
you can tell he wants his guitar. Are you trying to see if you can pierce his mask?
Yeah, basically that's what I was setting up.
Sure. Okay, I'll make the roll.
It's what pierce his mask.
Plus
is
mundane.
Yeah, actually succeeded at -2.
Nice.
There you go.
-1.
Okay, so choose one.
Where is the thing? Thing is here. Okay. Choose one. Okay, so how could I get your character to start talking?
Give him his guitar.
It doesn't have strings on it, at least.
Yeah.
That's it has been unstringed.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have a button. Because they kept doing the mind control thing even though the strings were snapped.
Oh. He's Recon is at this moment just okay, I see what you're trying to do. Okay. He just he just straightens out, get the guitar. Comes fairly a couple of steps away from Songbird.
Mhm.
And he's so he looks at the guitar, lifts his one hand, is so who broke you out?
He extends his hand thanks, kiddo.
He raises the guitar about to smash it on something. So who broke you out?
What? He grins at you. Try it.
He does.
It doesn't even scuff it. The strings are cut, but the guitar is pristine.
He looks curious.
Nah, dude. Magic.
Lovely.
Look,
Well,
I appreciate it, but I'm not gonna be playing any tunes on a guitar with no strings. It's okay.
sure. So I'll give you. Well, I cannot break it, so I'll give it to you back.
Thank you.
But I need an answer.
Sure. What's your question again?
Who broke you out?
I honestly don't know, but I know they only broke some of us out.
I know who they broke out. Why those people? Why you? What's so relevant about this group of people?
Well, what's relevant about me? I mean,
Don't. Yes, I heard your bragging before.
yes.
Fine. Sure.
Not to sound like an old man.
Well, that will be tough, but continue.
There's something
Nice.
off about you kids. Do you know that? Like, I don't mean in that way that people are always talking about and going on and on about how the times are changing. But there's something weird about, and he gestures to all, like to you, right? Like he does the like elevator top to bottom of you as a person. It's like, of this used to be that in the glory days, at least, you could tell heroes from villains. A hero would be loved by the people. He would do the right thing, say the right stuff, always be a thorn in the side, always be an annoying, frustrating, ultimately partner in crime, so to speak. He was a helping hand. You know, you contextualized each other. Does that make sense?
Nowadays we are just efficient workers.
See, that's the thing.
Hmm.
Maybe you'll benefit from some experience here, but I tend to find that people get scared around other people who can do stuff that they can't, or take it upon themselves to do stuff they can't. There's not a lot of difference really between heroes and villains in that respect. People are equally afraid of both. And when the lines get blurred, and we cut to Moira, and there's just a caption in the top of him finishing the sentence, of like, when the lines get blurred, that's when things tend to get messy. And we cut to Moira, and there is a crowd of people around you. Some of them afraid, some of them angry, all of them blaming you for the people who've been hurt here. You've been singled out as the one person who has caused trouble here. Because, guess what? You're a scary monster.
Regan, I'm so gonna have your ass for this. Oh well.
Wait.
And
Time
I
to
guess
peace
that's
out.
that's the that's it for next time. That's actually a pretty good cliffhanger.
Yeah, why not? Are we okay with that? Does that sound like a good cliffhanger to everyone?
It does for me, at least. I don't know about the others, obviously.
Yeah.
How about you, AJ? Did you want to engage a little more, or?
AJ, do you have a push to talk on?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful. Does this sound like a good cliffhanger to you, or would you like to have like a moment to react to this? Do you
I
want
just said it was fine 3 times in a row.
Oh.
It's fine.
Okay, I did not hear any
We
of
could
them.
not hear that.
All right, cool. So yeah, then let's call that the cliffhanger. Okay, good job. Let's take our end of session moves. You did a good job taking down the Scarlet Songbird. It got a bit messy, but hey, them's the ropes.
A bit.
A big
That was
bit.
okay.
Emotional mess is such a different thing, because you're tiny teenage babbies who needs to like have their emotions protected, which makes sense. It's a tough world with a lot of scary villains who know you, and who have been you. So let's start at the top with Constrictor. Moira, tell me about your end of session move today.
She grew away from the team.
Yeah. Explain why you feel detached.
Do I have to mention all of them?
No, you can give us the general gist if you would prefer.
Alright. Trespass, entry, and recon.
Yeah.
That was the general gist.
Sure. So what about like today made you and about them made you feel detached from the team? Did they not act in a way you thought appropriate? Were they not there for you?
First, Trespass yelled up that people were supposed to help. Angry.
Mm-hmm.
After saying that we all had to actually train.
Indeed.
Then Entry showed up late and blamed us for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Recon injured a lot of people when he tried to zipline, and they're all blaming her.
Yeah.
And he's not stopping them.
I see you. That is totally valid. This is
Absolutely.
a scary situation, and it is very appropriate that you would feel alone here. So take influence over you away from one character.
I don't think anyone actually has it.
You can.
Maybe not.
Who has influence over Moira?
I do.
I do.
I do not.
Well, the thing that stung the most was Trespass, so she loses influence.
Yep.
Or stung the most.
That's so good drama. Like just that angry lashing out at someone, and then someone's feelings get hurt. Cool.
Yeah, including Trespass's own.
Indeed, right?
That's why she's so upset.
Yeah, you when you start when it gets calm and you think about what you've done, and it's like, oh, you can't undo it.
Exactly.
Oh, such a shame. I look forward to seeing
Yeah, that's good drama.
seeing that. Good stuff. Let's talk about Entry. So you're a late entry. But still, take your end of session move.
Yes, I have been debating. I think I'll settle on growing into your own image of yourself.
Interesting. All right, how do you see yourself?
The other option was, of course, growing away from the team.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, Entry reaffirmed some of his core beliefs, which are ironically based on the alignment chart from stuff such as Dungeons and Dragons, where he's definitely of the opinion that you need to be good. You don't necessarily need to be lawful.
Yeah.
And let's just say, if I could, he would raise his superior. But I can't.
All right. So what
instead,
shifts instead?
I think I'll shift up my savior,
Okay. Yeah.
because that's what he, espoused today. We don't hurt innocents.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I will shift down his mundane to signify that he definitely feels... He doesn't feel like a normie. He feels like more than a normie.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. I guess that is Entry. Trespass.
Did that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trespass, if you please.
Yes. Well, here's the weird thing. Depending on what part of tonight we're talking about, I could argue for all three of them, because it started out with her definitely growing closer to the team with Moira.
Mm-hmm.
With sharing the idea, and this is how we can get rid of your file, and that kind of thing, and that means something to her, and that's also why she's so upset with what happened at the end of the whole thing.
That sounds like a very valid observation.
But on the other hand, there's also the obvious growing away from the team, in that she felt in the moment. Afterwards, she's ashamed of it, but in the moment, she felt like they were basically, where the hell were they?
Yeah, why
he
weren't
felt
they
abandoned.
fighting the villain?
She felt abandoned. She felt like she was being left to fight for herself. And it angered her, and so there was that. And you could even argue that she grew into an image of herself in that, this, oh, okay, so this is really who I am, this monstrosity that hurts people, and that because that's what he told me that I am.
I feel like you have a very good fictional foundation for arguing all three of these. Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
you could even argue like growing closer to the team, but not in a happy sense. Right? Normally we look at that and think, oh yes, happy unity, but growing closer to the team could also be like a shit, I care, and I care too much. And I did something bad, and I want to be closer to you, right? Like,
yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with, because it started out with definitely growing closer, and then she got to, she is angry with herself as much as anything else. By now, the anger has shifted from the Scarlet Songbird, because that idiot is now in custody or being taken into custody. She's angry at herself for what she did, because this is not who she wants to be.
of course not.
And she feels so fucking ashamed that she lost control like that, and that she lashed out at her friends like that, and she's really distraught.
He managed to bait something out of you that you're not cool with, and it caused you to lash out at your teammates for not beating the villain, but instead like taking care of the people. Which in retrospect to Yun would be like, oh, of course this is important, right? But I wasn't thinking. Damn it.
I wasn't thinking at all, and I wasn't seeing that they were taking care of people. She was just focused on taking him down to such an extent, because the point is, for her, getting to him turned out to be extremely simple. So it's difficult in that moment. It was really hard for her to think, oh, but it was also obviously really difficult for them. Why couldn't they just get here? That was all she thought in the moment.
Such like, I'm really jazzed about that whole development. Like, I was so happy to have you shouting at your team like that.
Yeah, obviously that was, as you said, the expression you used is really good drama. I'm definitely on board with that shit. So I'm going to take potential, which takes me up to where I need to pick a new advance. I'll do that before next time I need to look through them.
Excellent.
Whose opinion do you care extra about them?
Yes. Who made you feel welcome?
Moira, because that was the part of the scene that.
All right. Moira, do you already have influence over Trespass?
I actually don't know.
Yes, I told you earlier today that you did.
Oh, well, then I do.
All right. In that case, you get to shift. Trespass's labels. Shift one up and one down.
Why was it she felt closer?
Because
and
of
why
the
was
scene,
it was Myra?
Because of the scene early on when they were sitting and talking about maybe finding to help get Moira's file fixed and deleted.
What
Helping could
label
imply
would
savior.
that be?
Helping could imply savior.
It could imply savior. You could also be impressed in some way. Like, maybe you were like talking about how smart she was for figuring all of this stuff about Aegis servers out. That could raise her superior. You have options.
I think it'll be her savior.
Okay, what goes down?
Her danger.
Okay.
She's less of a danger, but more of a savior.
Sure.
Rad.
No problem.
You're all
No
adorable.
problem.
Let's talk about Recon. Recon, what's your move?
Think Recon grew into an image of himself.
Okay, how do you see yourself?
And he sees himself like as a more like he's kind of in his mindset, like after talking to Wispen, after doing the odd jobs for the, like, in the past, he's like feeling more and more like a, mercenary hero than a more of a do good vigilante.
Right,
Like,
feel you're moving in a certain direction on the hero scale.
So he's definitely like dropping the savior bit of the whole thing and upping the danger bit of all things. Like,
Of course. All right, I see you, Hawkeye.
yeah.
Deadpool.
Also
Yeah,
that.
he's moving away from Spider-Man side of the scale more towards the Deadpool side of the scale.
Ooh. That's the point where Mask shifts and becomes Apocalypse World.
Yeah.
Okay. So, cool. Thanks for that.
I found my new move.
Interesting. What move would you like to take? What
I'm
advancement have
taking
you
them.
picked?
I have picked take another move from your own playbook.
Okay. What playbook have you? What move have you picked?
I'm picking the one called Not So Different.
Oh.
When you provoke someone to criminal or villainous action, you can use danger instead of superior.
Oh. Ah, that's really good. So, are you? I mean, you don't feel compelled to answer this. I'm just super curious. Are you covering your bases here? Do you predict some like you're not so but like we're not so different in the future?
No, but there is that, but he really did hit her with the whole. But the feeling she walks away with from that is that he basically said, "Your Blood Rose. You will always be Blood Rose. You cannot be anything but Blood Rose."
Right, and okay, yeah, and that opens the proverbial Pandora's box of like,
Yeah.
well, I could. So in order to deal with this, a way you could defend yourself from this is to show people how shitty they can be, and then hide behind the fact that see, like, I'm not so.
Yeah.
Oh god, what an interesting choice of move. Well, thank you everyone for playing. Thank you, Rasmus, for parachuting in when you came home. That was cool.
I mean, that's fitting for the delinquent. I'm there when I want to be.
Fashionably late.
Of course. I need to go there, solve all the problems, and be like judging.
Entry, I imagine, I don't know, but entry, I imagine, is like an avid otaku.
Probably.
In his mind, in my headcanon, entry like entered that scene with that, like, I don't remember how exactly it goes, I'm gonna mangle it now, but that line they say in certain anime is like, the hero always arrives on the scene late, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he consumes a lot of media, so anime is not out of the question.
You are already dead.
Mwah.
Cool. But yeah, so thanks for that. And thank you everyone, of course, for playing. It was always nice to have you here. It's always cool to see what you come up with when we combine these like high-flying superhero stuff with the soft, squishy emotions of teenagers. So thank you dearly for being part of this. And thank you, dear viewing audience, for watching another episode of Misfits on CharismaToAC. We'll be back in the future with even more stuff. And I suppose it seems likely that in the next session, we'll see how your current situation shakes out. I was about to segue into the end here, and we will momentarily, but I feel like before we do that, let's talk about the issue, the cover of this issue, and the title of it. Does anyone have a good idea for what the cover looks like, and what the title is?
Uncomfortable Truths?
That works. I was gonna suggest When the Lines Blur, but that's
that's even better.
That's better. Yeah, blurred
Definitely.
lines.
So what is the cover drawn indistinctly?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't think so. That wouldn't sell.
It's true. Needs to pop.
Yeah, exactly. It does. I think the image that we should see is that of angry, frightened, and first and foremost wounded people surrounding Moira, who's basically just standing there with her arms slightly up and a very worried look on her face.
I think that sounds like a great cover.
That's a good image. Can there be a small Where's Waldo-ish somewhere with entry in the background with a toothbrush and pajamas?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes. In fact, that belongs in like the top part of the shot. All right. Delightful. So, with that, we can close our issue of masks, and we will be back in the future, as I mentioned, with even more Misfits. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the show, and until next time, be cool. Bye.
Bye.
Boy.